Hi everyone, it's Sat here, back again to help you go from daydreaming about development to being an actual developer. Sorry about the delay. My Mac, I upgraded it to the Sierra OS version, and everything got deleted. It took me a while to get everything back on board, and then I got a little bit distracted with the whole Bitcoin hysteria, and I've been researching that. But anyway, I am back now officially. So I want to say thank you to all the people that have been commenting, as well as, thanks to those who have noticed that I was gone and I haven't been here for a while. It's really cool to see the new subscribers still coming up, and the video, the watch amounts going up, which is really good. So this has come at a bit of a delay, but I've finally going to answer this question. It was really nice to see other people helping each other out as well, recommending how they could have solved this. But I decided in the end that I would do a tutorial. So I'm going to answering this question about how to get the cat to follow the camera without actually floating upwards. And then at the end of this video, also a challenge for you. Anyway, on to the video. What we want to create is a script that moves our cat, one of our cats anyway, towards the camera. And that's going to be based off of a few things. It's going to be based off of the speed at which we want that cat to move. And then we want that cat to also stop at a specific point. A specific distance. So we might not want it to go right up to the camera. We might want it to stop maybe a few, like a meter in front of it, or a value that we want to be able to change. And then we also want to fix an issue that was spotted where the cat would float up towards the camera if the camera was on a different Y position. And you'll see what I'm talking about and what the comment was referencing when I recreate that problem in this tutorial. Alright, so we've got two prefabs already. We've got original low poly cat, and this one has a really cool script. This script, the cat moves towards the hit point that we tap when we tap on a particular plane, which is great. That works really well. And then this other cat doesn't really do anything. It's got animated, so it has an animation to it, which is nice. But let's get this cat to actually move as well now, and let's get this cat to be the one that has that script, this follow game object script that we're going to now create. So let's do follow game object and create and add. So a few of you might be thinking, well, actually you've got a follow style piece of code already, and that's on the low poly cat. That move to script could be adapted, and you're right, that you're absolutely right. We could adapt that one and have it so that instead of just moving to one point, it's constantly moving to the camera. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a different piece of code. We're going to do this instead of having the transfer lerping towards a position. We're going to use something else which will be slightly different, and that means you have two different pieces of code, which I think is more useful for you, which I hope anyway is more useful for you, gives you more options. So instead of using that regular lerp for moving, we'll use vector3.move towards position. So that bug that I'll talk about and I'll fix in this version as well. You can also apply this to the other code. But I'll let you do that in your own time. Alright, so we've got this nice piece of code here. Again, this is from the documentation, so I'm going to use this code in this script. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a public game object called follow game object. No, that's not right. I'm going to say game object to follow. There we go. I think that's a better name. Bit more clear. Now I could call this camera object, like follow camera here, but I want to create some flexibility so that if we don't want to follow the camera, we want to follow a different object, then we can change that. And I think this is a better way of doing this. I actually know already that we're going to change this again, but I'll come to that. I'll come to that later. But for now, this makes sense. So let's leave that as it is, and then let's also say we want to have the speed of the game object, the cat, to 2f. Now we're going to have to tweak this as we go forwards because 2f might be too fast. but let's see. Oh, so I should do an equal sign. It's not going to work otherwise. All right, so let's do some code in our update. So what we'll do is we'll do if. In fact, let me change this to object to follow, because I think that's just a little bit easier to type. So let's do object to follow is not equal to null. So just a quick safety check. I don't know how that jumped up there, but object to follow is not null. Then what we want to do is we want to do transform dot position is equal to vector3 dot move towards, and then we're going to do, so we have the current vector, which is the transform dot position, then we have the target, which is going to be the object to follow, so this is the game object dot transform dot position, and then we want to have the max distance delta, which is basically going to be the speed at which we move at. So let's do that. Let's do transform dot position, and then so that's going to pull this current cat's game transform, and then we're going to do object to follow dot transform dot position, and then we want to do speed times time dot delta time. Alright, so now that should move this cat towards the position that we want. So let's I think we can actually just try that as it is, and it should work really. I don't see why it shouldn't, so let's try it out. Let's go. I mean, it won't work won't work very well. There'll be a whole bunch of issues, but we can go through those. This should still run anyway. So let's make sure there's no errors. Okay, that looks okay. We've got the empty game object, so we want to put the first person camera in here, and then we want to hit play. And then let's go to. Okay, so I think you might have seen that happen there. It's a bit fast, but if I move this, there you go. Now it looks like it's stuck because it's moving so fast. So let's tweak the oh no, I was moving the cat actually. Let's move the camera object. There we go. Okay, so you can see it's moving. When I move the camera object, it's moving towards the cat. It's actually still too fast. So let's tweak this. Let's change this to half. Would probably be too fast. So let's try 0.5. Oh, actually, that's not bad. Is that okay? I think that's fast enough for now. Alright, let's do that. So, okay, we've got a few problems here already. So the speed we're going to change when we stop pressing play. But we've got an issue, the cat's not turning, rotation is not changing, which is fine because in the script we haven't really addressed that. The other thing that we have, if I move this camera up, you'll notice it starts to float. And this is the bug that was mentioned in the comment. So we're going to try and fix that as well. And then of course we've got the issue of the animation isn't running. The rotation, the animation, we can use the code from our other script for that. But this is a good start. So let's do some changes. Let's go back to cat. Let's change this to 0.5 because I think that was a good speed. And then let's also go back into our code. Where's my code gone? I can't find my code. Strange. Close it. Ah, okay, here it is. So we have this, and that works. So now we want to do is let's fix the rotation issue. So let's go to cat move and let's just take it. Really, I think there's no reason why we can't do that. So we've got raw rotation and transform here. let's take this as well. This, I'm pretty sure this helped to smooth out the animation, make it a little bit more cleaner. So let's put that here as well. There we go. Now it's obviously going to say this is an error because we don't have an end marker. What we actually want to do is change this to the object to follow the transform dot position. I think that should fix that. So now we should get a rotation. Let's see, look, rotation at Y. Okay, let's try it. Let's see what we get. Bunch of errors, but those are all, if I collapse these, pretty sure those are just the standard errors that we get. Yeah, those are just the standard ones to do with Tango. Fine, let's try this again. Good, we've got 10 there. Hopefully you saw that. So we've got the game object there and the cat's moving and it's turning now, which is great. Look at that, that's wonderful. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is we want to also, so we've got the rotation working. Well, we want to probably look at the distance now, right? So to do distance, we can look at, we've got this code here. The distance is less than -1, then we want to do that. So let's actually just take this from our cat move script, because that's pretty good. So we've got two different ways of moving. We've got this, the lerping one, and we've got the move towards one. Both of them work. But the other stuff I think we might as well just keep. So let's try that now. So let's put this here. Let's move this over here, and you'll notice as well that we brought in this animation stuff, so we're almost there. The only thing we want to change is this start marker dot position, which isn't going to be the start marker. It's not going to be that. It's going to be the transform dot position, because that's the starting position. And the end marker isn't going to be end marker. End marker is going to be the object to follow transform dot position, and then less than -1. That's not right. Less than -1 is okay. So less than -1 is when it stops, which is probably what we did here. So instead, we're going to do more than. I guess let's do more than 1. So if it's more than, if the distance is more than 1, then we want to move towards it. Else, we want to do something else. But we don't want to do anything actually. But we also want to. Put this in because we're going to change this, and we're also going to have it so that stopping distance is equal to 1f. And we're going to change this. So this means that we can change the stopping distance anytime we want. And have I done? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if it. So what it should do is it should move towards the camera and then stop roughly around here. I think actually maybe here. Great, that's perfect. So it's actually one space there. So if I move it to here, it should stop probably here. Yeah, okay, that's good. So so that means that if I move the camera here, you can see it moving towards the camera. It won't sit on the camera, which is what we don't want. So we also have, the only other issue now we have is this floating issue, right? Which is it's kind of sucks. If the camera's at the same level, it works perfectly, but it doesn't work well if anything starts to float. So let's take a look at fixing that as well. So to fix the floating issue, what we want to do is we want to change some of this. We want to change the position that it's looking at. So at the moment, it's trying to find. If I just show you here, when it moves towards the camera here, which is a straight line. If we move the camera up, and I'm not in play mode now because I just want to demonstrate something. What we want the cat to do is move to this position, right? That's what you want. And what it's doing is it's noticing the X, the Y, and the Z, and it's following that line. So if the Y position's 0.7, it still goes that way. So all we got to really do, right, if you think about this, if it was down here, it would go down here, is we need to change that Y position, right? The Y position is what's messing things up. Actually, what we want is it to only be at the 0 position, because when it's 0, it's on the kind of the ground position. So to fix that, all we have to do is have it not actually follow the object. We want it to follow almost like a fake version of the object, where it follows the X and the Y, but the X and the Z, but the Y position is actually 0. So let's create a temporary vector called vector3 temp position, and let's have that as the object to follow dot transform dot position, and then let's just do temp position dot y equals 0. That's that, and then we put this temp position in here, we swap it. So that should fix half of the issue. It definitely won't float now. So let's play this and see. As you can see, it's not floating now. It's just going to stop underneath the camera. Right, no floating. Right, if I put the camera like lower than the cat, it doesn't float down either. So that's great. That's fine. That's all sorted. So there's no more floating. That's solved that. I think if there's a possibility. Let me just try one more. Check one other thing. Usually there's a rotation issue as well with the. Okay, good. So we've actually solved this previously on a particular level. The look position. If I didn't have this look position dot y equals 0 here from our previous code, the cat would actually twist upwards as well. So I'll show you that. So I don't know if I spoke about this in the previous code, but let me show you what that would look like. There, you see that? So we kind of touched upon this already, but we just didn't apply it. So the knowledge was there. Okay, so that's the rotation, that's the floating and the rotation issue that sorted out for that as well. So now we just need to change the animation. So let's take a look at that as well now. I almost forgot, actually, we've been working on this cat, but we haven't actually applied the changes of the cat to the prefab. And when we do that, we're going to notice a problem that I mentioned earlier on, but I didn't talk about fully. So now I've applied the changes to the prefab. You'll notice when we go down to this follow game object script, the object to follow is empty now because the prefab doesn't store this, which is a bit of an issue. So to solve this, I mean, it's not a big deal, but to solve it, all we got to do is change the follow game object script. So you might have remembered that I said that we're going to change this. So we're not going to have a game object. Well, we will have this as a game object. We're going to change this to private game object, and then instead we're going to do public string game object tag. And then what we're going to do is we are going to do object to follow is equal to game object dot find game object with tag, and then we're going to put in the game object tag that we are going to now put on our cat. right? So now that should still, everything else is fine, everything else will work. We've just now added in a tag feature, so we can search for the cat, and that tag will be passed on to our actual prefab as well, so we don't have to worry about this code. So that's gone now. So the game object vanished, and now we have the string. The only thing is we don't actually have a tag on our camera object, so let's add that on now. And let's make it the player one, why not? That seems to make sense. Let's go back to here, and then let's put on here player, and then let's also hit apply. So you should see that it's gone from a dark, it's no longer bold now, it's gone to regular, so that should mean that we go to our cat cartoon, we've got that there. And then let's just do one quick check and make sure that it works. There's no reason why it shouldn't. There you go, perfect. We just need to sort out the animation, and then we're pretty much done. So let's go and look at our cat animator. We have the cat animator that came along with the actual store item, but we're going to create a new animator now. So this is going to be an animator controller. So cartoon controller, cartoon cat controller, and it's actually going to be really similar to our AR cat one, because we want to use this. Let's just continue to use this. So it is running on or off. So let's double check that is running, and then let's try that again. Bool is running, and that works quite well for me. Good, capital I's. So we're gonna put in cat idle in here, and then we're just gonna do cat walk, and that's it really. And we're gonna put cat idle, make transition. No, let's do one other thing actually. Let's put in cat sound as well for now, and then we'll do these two are going back and forth towards each other, and then we've got cat walk goes to idle if is running is false, and if running is true, we can go from either of these. Oh, what am I doing? Either of these to the walk animation. Is running is true. Is running is true. So the reason I put these two in is just in the future maybe we can do something, and the idle animation isn't just, you know, just doesn't get boring actually. At least we've got something happening there, which is similar to what we have in our other cat. So now we just need to trigger that animation. We've pretty much done that already. Did we delete that code? No, we didn't. That's good. So let's remove this, comment that out. We want to also put that here, except this should be true because this is where we want to start running. And now we just need to fill in this cat anim state. So let's just do private animator cat anim, and then at the start we want to do anim is equal to get component animator, because the cat has an animator, and then we want to also make sure that we set this animator here. I don't know why I want to suddenly do that, but I guess I am gonna do. Am I gonna let them do that? Yeah, let's let them do it. Okay, good. So I think that's fine. Oh no, it's not. Animation has been depreciated. Later animation. I don't know what they're referring to there. Get component or animation is obsolete. Animation, do I do that, or animator? Let's get rid of this for a second. Let's see what happens. I think that is what caused it. Sometimes these things happen, you never know why they happen exactly, but we've got a good idea. It's this get component animator is what I did, not animation, so it should work. I think I know what the issue is. The issue is that I did animation. I shouldn't have done that. I should have actually did cat anim. I didn't even notice I did that, so there you go. That's what caused the issue. Since animation is depreciated. Okay, so animator is what I should have done. There we go. Cat anim, sorry, I should have said. Cat anim is equal to get component animator. There you go, a little bit of free bug fixing thrown in. And now I am going to check this is running. False, false. Go back to, this is what I almost forgot to do because of that little issue, is I have to change this animator from the cat one to the new one that we have, which is the cartoon cat one, and that one should allow for the cat animation stuff. I'm just going to quickly check, is that what I did? So I have no exit time. That's something else I should have put in. Makes sense as well. And I probably had these have no exit time as well. This one has an exit time to finish the running. It's interesting. So let's change that as well. Let's update this. So from sound, no exit time. So that means that as soon as we trigger this, it goes straight into the run animation. And I think that makes sense. Same with this one. I guess it finishes the walk animation, which is not bad, before it goes to idle. It's a small animation anyway, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let's try it out and see what we get. So we've got the cat walking and it stops. That's really good. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so let's hit apply to this with this, and then let's delete this because this shouldn't be on here. It should get called via our hello AR controller. We've got that code there. So I think what we can do now is test it out on device. So I'm going to do that now, and let's see how that looks. So let's place one cat there and then the other cat here, and you'll notice the cat is moving towards me, and then it will stop when it's close. There we go, and then probably meow once the animation. Was it the meow one? I think it is. There we go. And then it will move again if I move away from it. So it's just basically following me now wherever I go, which is exactly what was asked for, except it's not floating as well, which is good. And the other one is just moving around when I click. So we've got these kind of two cats that are both kind of, one that I have control over when I tap on the screen, and the other one that's just kind of following me around mindlessly and then stopping. And that distance can be controlled, so if I move up, it moves even closer to my feet. There's a slight issue because if I go really high, it keeps on kind of walking. So your challenge is to see if you can fix that bug. Do you know what causes it? Maybe leave a comment, or do you think you know what could fix it? And maybe if you know the exact script, you can leave that in the comment as well, and I'll make a video about that next if you want, or maybe I'll do something else since there's been so many suggestions. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and a comment. Hit subscribe. I read all the comments, so you know, let me know what you think, and leave a suggestion. I'd love that. All right, until next time, take care.